Welcome to the FitMama Podcast, where it's all about gaining your health back as a busy woman and mom, and doing it without sacrificing time with your family or business. Here is your host, mompreneur and FitMama health coach, Angela Campbell.
Hey ladies, what is going on? Today is the day I'm going to do a macro training 101 here inside our group. So if you have questions, drop them below. Whether you're watching this now or you're watching this on a replay, drop your questions below, because if you're not able to get them answered now, live, we can always come back in here and get them answered. This video stays here, it doesn't go away, right? So, in today's episode of our FitMama Podcast, we're going to talk about macros. It's one of the number one most important things that we teach inside of our FitMama programs. It's something that it's to me, and the method of counting your macros and figuring it out and what am I supposed to eat, how am I supposed to eat and all the things, it's confusing, right? Like, I know you can agree if it's confusing. Hey, Callie, what is up, girl? So if you have questions, definitely drop them below. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about what are macros, what are the 3 macros that we focus on and that we count, and what is the most important one. What is the one, if any of you ladies that are watching their inner program, what is the very first macro we work on together, and what is the one you hear us talk about all the time? Drop it below if you're listening. But what is a macro if you're feeling lost and confused? Here's the thing. I'm going to go into it today, but the number one question usually is, what should my macros be? It's different for everyone, and I will be transparent right now. I can't come on this video and say, your macro should be this, and you should be eating 1,500 calories. Why? Because everybody's different, and there's not going to be one number that is going to be the same for everybody. Everybody's totally different, and sometimes those need to change even based on the formulas that we use because of how your body's responding or not responding, right? So again, if you're feeling lost, this is definitely for you. Comment with your questions. If anyone is catching this later, if you're listening right now and this is on the podcast later, because this will be uploaded to there, join our group, acfitmama.com/Facebook. Get in there. It's a group for all women, right? But if you're lost, here we go. I spend, in our 12-week programs, we spend each week on a different macro and then creating habits around it. I'm a big fan of the lifestyle habit approach than I am a diet per se, right? There's plenty of diets out there in the world. But when it comes to your macros, it's a matter of finding what works for you is going to be the key. And first, before I get into the actual training, so stay here, I got to give a couple shout outs, because there's some amazing women that are doing exactly what we're teaching, and some are having some amazing results. Some of those results are scale related. Some of those results are inches related. Some of those results are more developing as a person related. Like, there's so many different ones, right? But first, couple really quick. I've got to first give a shout out to Adriana Feltman. Give her some love in the comments. Tell her awesome job. She's going through our detox program right now. Our big official weigh-in is tomorrow. For those of you guys that are in the detox program, you'll see their results coming in here tomorrow. But before the weekend was here, she was already down 7 pounds, and she already is committed to go a full 12 weeks with us and through our program to keep the amazing results coming. So major welcome to Adriana. Major shout out to Sarah Paul, down 6.25 inches already, and she's only in week 3. Erin Kilduff, down 3 pounds and 8.75 inches. That's so awesome. These women are doing amazing. Tammy Sturgeon, 7 pounds down. Diana Hernandez, 4 inches down. And many, many, many other things, right? So major kudos to the ladies. Say congrats in the comments. Give them some love. And those are just a few of the many that are working through it right now. So macros. What is a macro? If you already know the answer to that question, drop it below. I'd love to see. Macros are the 3 biggest things that we worry about counting in the forms of grams. And that is a protein, that is a carb, and that is a fat. And they're all very important pieces, right? They're all very important pieces. The number one most important, I promised I would share, the number one most important is the protein. It's the protein is oftentimes when I speak with women and I start working with women and I start looking at their food and what they're eating, the 2 most common things I usually have to help them get through first is eat more food. Got to have more food. You guys, our bodies are, I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again because it may be the 1152nd time that you hear anyone say it, but your body needs food. You can't starve it or it's not going to go anywhere. If you're having a hard time losing weight, there's a couple things obviously you can look at, but one of the first things is, are you eating enough food? If you're busy, which is, I think, 100% of anybody in this day and age, everybody's busy, just looks a little bit different, but eating enough food is super important. But your macros are what matters even more than your calories. Do your calories matter? Of course, but it's not only about calorie in, calorie out. Do you want a deficit? Do you want to burn more than you're eating? Yes, if you want to lose weight, absolutely 100%. But then when you drop it down into what are your calories needed for your body, which is different for everybody. Again, I can't just say, hey, everybody in this group, eat 1,500 calories and you're going to be perfect, because it's not the case. Some need more, some need less, some need way more than that, right? But your macros consist of your proteins, consist of your carbs, and consist of your fats. I don't teach no carb diets. So if you are on one right now or you're following a keto or something specific, if that's working for you, keep rocking it. I don't personally teach on that. I love carbs. I'm actually a big fan of them being in your body for fuel. But I'm going to get into a little bit more about that in a second. But why do counting macros matter the most? Because when you're on a diet, if you're worried about just the scale and wanting to lose weight, then calorie in, calorie out, whatever you eat, doesn't matter. Burn more than you eat. Big thing, right? But the women that I work with, and my biggest goal as I'm helping a woman is more than just dropping on the scale, right? Because the scale does not define us, and there's so much more happening. Your scale can be dropping because you're dropping water weight. Your scale can be dropping because you're losing muscle. Your scale can be dropping for so many reasons. I want to help you drop on the scale, yes, but your body composition change at the same time. What often causes your scale to do this, it's an up and down journey. It's an up and down roller coaster ride, right? But it's because your body is changing, your body composition is changing, and it has to do with your macros, okay? So your macros help you lose stubborn fat. If you're trying to get rid of your belly fat, because I hear that a lot in this group, there's a great training in the unit section that I did a while back about belly fat training. Go watch it if you haven't watched it yet, or rewatch it. There's 5 videos to go through on that. But if you're trying to lose fat, like if losing fat is your number one thing, like the scale doesn't matter to me that much. It's more about what I look like. It's more about how my clothes fit. It's more about I want to look toned. And that is about losing fat, right? So your macros matter big time if you want to lose your fat. If you want to maintain lean muscle, or if you want to build lean muscle, right? I'm not talking about the bulky man muscle. It takes eating a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of food, and it's really hard for women to be bulky, manly looking. So eating and building muscle has nothing to do with being bulky. So first take that out of your mind, right? Hey, Adriana, what's up, girl? But counting macros matters because it helps you lose actual fat. It helps you maintain lean muscle. The more lean muscle you have, the more fat you are going to burn. The more lean muscle you have, the more tone you are going to look. So if tone comes out of your mouth when somebody says, what are your goals? I want to look tone. You got to get your macros. And the other thing about macros too is it helps keep your body satisfied. If you don't have a balance of macronutrients, and like say for example, like if all you eat is carbs, like carbs, if carbs is your weakness, put carbs in the comments. I'd love to see. They are my weakness, and I eat carbs, but I also know that I have to watch them and not go over the top crazy, because then water weight comes on, right? And so many different factors, right? But if all you eat is a diet full of carbs, your body is probably going crazy. It is probably sending you to have a lot of cravings. And so when you're doing the combination of your macronutrients, it's going to help your body stay satisfied. Okay, that means you're going to have less cravings and less hunger. Same thing if you just eat carbs, like say for breakfast, for example, if only thing you eat is carbs, like oatmeal, for example, by itself, 30 minutes later, you're going to be starving. You're going to be hangry if you get hangry. I get hangry. Okay, if I'm eating enough food, I'm hangry. My family knows to stay out of her way, go get her some food, right? But if you just eat carbs by themselves and you're not putting some fat or some protein, especially protein is the number one macronutrient I'm gonna talk about today, then you'll burn through it so fast, and then you become super hungry, and then your blood sugars spike or drop, depending on again, multiple things. And that's when you cause yourself to either crash, be super tired, or you're hangry, or again, just straight up starving within the hour after eating it. And then that's when you tend to go into making bad choices. Your discipline goes out the window, So counting your macros and having a balance of these macronutrients is going to keep your body satisfied and stay fuller and do all the things, right? So again, it's not just about your calorie intake. It's not just about burning more than what you eat when it comes to calories, because you can go eat 1,500 calories through drive-thrus all day long, maybe just one. You might get 1,500 calories in one meal sometimes, depending on what you're getting, right? So to me, it's not about the calorie intake only. It's about utilizing your macronutrients that make up the calories that you're eating, right? And there's no standard amounts, you guys. Again, we're working together, this is what we're going through. We're teaching you, and we have formulas that we use to help you figure out what your macros should be and shouldn't be, and stay there as close as you can. And but there's no standard amount of macros a single person should eat. It's going to be different for everybody. And as your body's changing or not changing, they should adjust, right? So for example, my own nutritional journey, right? About 16 weeks ago, I guess, I got my own health coach. I am a health coach who has a health coach. I need one too, because I don't want to lay it out for myself, and I sure as heck ain't gonna hold myself accountable, right? So I have someone that writes my macros for me, writes my workouts for me, and I check with them a couple times a week to make sure that I'm staying on point. And that one little bitty thing right there makes it all difference in the world to me, because I will disappoint and let myself down all day long, but I will not that other person that's watching me. Right? But the biggest thing is for about 12 weeks, we stayed at the same macronutrients, and we dropped fat and body. My transformation has been crazy, like with the muscle that I'm gaining, and all the things that's happening in my body, right? But then I hit a point where my scale wasn't changing, my things weren't really changing. So guess what? We had to change things up. And that for my body was actually upping my everything. I'm eating more now. I'm eating more. That's going into more of a muscle gaining phase, right? So you have to adjust as your body adjusts to your macros. You adjust, right? But there's no standard amount of macros that a certain person should eat. It's different for everybody. So I can't really just put out a number out here today on the video. I'm sorry if that's what you were wanting. It's going to be different for each person, and it depends on your height, it depends on your weight, it depends on your activity level, it depends on your age, it depends on what are your personal goals going, right? So here's the first step, though. The first step is, one, get help. Get help, or you can Google all kinds of things. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's better than just you guessing on your own, right? But the first step is figuring out what is your calories, like what should you be eating to reach your goals. Do you want to maintain your weight? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to lose fat? Do you want to what? Do you want to gain weight? I have some women in here, like their biggest goal is to gain weight, because no matter what they do, they cannot gain an ounce. And sometimes that's even harder for women than it is to lose weight, right? So don't always envy someone for being ultra skinny, because that might be where they want to be. But anyway, the first thing is figuring out what are your calories. And again, that's based on your activity levels, your age, your weight, and a couple other factors. And it helps you figure out what your basal metabolic rate is, your BMR. Okay, and from that, it's going to help you figure out what your calorie count is. Then the second step is we have formulas that we use to help you figure out what your protein needs to be, where your carbs should be on your goals, and then we make up the rest of the calories that you need in your fat sources, and fat being the lowest percent. Ideally, when I'm working with women, we have medium to high protein, low to medium carbs, and then our fats are definitely our lowest. We keep pretty low fat, right? But here's the benefits. I want to talk about the benefits of the protein, because again, protein is one of my biggest, to me, it's the most important macro. It's why that we teach on that one first. Protein is important for a lot of different reasons, and usually, again, everybody's different. Anywhere, I would say, from usually between 30 to 40% of macros that I teach anyway usually come from your protein. I'll throw that number out there for you, right? 30 to 40% is usually protein. Okay, and protein there's a ton of benefits. One, it's going to increase your fullness. One of the biggest habits that I love to help women teach is getting protein in all of your meals. And why is this so important? Why? Because it's going to help you stay fuller longer, which helps speed up your metabolism, which helps you keep your energy consistent, right? Again, going back to what I talked about at the very beginning of this video, if all you eat is oatmeal for breakfast and you have no protein or anything else, you're going to burn through it really fast, and then you're going to be hungry really fast, right? So one of your benefits of protein is it's going to increase your fullness. Okay, so every meal, I love to teach women to get protein in all of your meals. Okay, it doesn't have to be a drastic amount. Everybody's different, 10 to 20, 25, 30. You don't need any more than that per meal. But increases your fullness. It increases your muscle tone, if you have tone being part of your goals whatsoever. Protein plays a really big role in increasing the muscle, your lean muscle that I talked about. If you're working out and changing up your eating habits, your body changes. And that's a part of what happens, your body composition. You're gaining lean muscle and losing fat in the process. And sometimes the scale stays the same while these changes are happening. So again, that's very different. Also, protein will help you increase your strength. So strength is important to you when you're doing your workouts. Strength, protein. Think protein, strength. I want to be strong. I got to eat my protein, right? Same thing we tell our kids, right? I tell my daughter all the time, baby, you got to be strong. You want to be fast. We got to eat your meat. It's obviously good for your bones. It helps you reduce cravings, like I talked about a little bit already. Like if you find yourself, if you don't eat enough protein and you eat a super high diet, a high fat diet or a high carb diet, you're probably having cravings. And if you are having cravings, drop below. Tell me, what are your cravings? A lot of times the cravings come from not being very balanced when it comes to nutrition, deficiencies in your body from the lack of nutrients. So there's a lot of reasons behind all that. But protein can help reduce your cravings. Protein will help boost your metabolism. Protein will help you increase your fat burn. All these things sound appealing to you, go get some protein. Eat some protein. There's also other benefits that'll help you lower your blood pressure. If you get to a certain point on your weight loss journey and you want to start maintaining, same thing, your protein can also help you maintain your body changes that you're going through. It helps your body also repair. So like if you're recovering from anything, a surgery or a workout, a surgery or some sort of health, being sick or anything, or even just simply repairing from your workouts. That's why you say, or you may have heard from just wherever, whatever you listen to, but getting protein in within the hour after a workout is proven to be beneficial because your body's going to absorb it, especially if it's whey, absorb it faster, and then you recover faster. So it helps you recover. So protein is your friend. Go get some in every meal, right? Benefits of carbs. I want to talk about carbs, and I'm going to talk about fats, and then that's it, because those are the 3 macros I want to talk about today. Carbs, though. Carbs are not the devil. And if you're scared of carbs, I want to tell you right now, don't be scared. I promise they are not the devil. Now, if you're following a different diet, like say keto, for example, that cuts them out, if it's working for you, keep it. The key to it is finding something that's going to be maintainable and realistic for you, though. And I find the women that I work with, cutting them out altogether is not realistic. It's not long-term. It's not something that they can maintain. I know I've done little to no carb before in the past when I was competing in bikini competitions, and the things that I noticed the most is I was exhausted, I was crabby, I was moody as all get out, and I had no brain power. I could not think straight, even enough to count for my clients that I was personal training. So your carbs is your fuel. Carbs is your body's preferred source of fuel. And so again, this is something I love to teach the women as well too, especially to start your day. Get carbs in the first half of your day, especially breakfast and even lunch, and then you can kind of taper them off. That's what we teach. But your carbs are your body's main source of energy. If you're also trying to gain muscle, carbs are your friend to help you gain muscle. Like me personally right now, I did a fat loss phase for a while, for a good 12, actually we ended up going about 13, 14 weeks going through the holidays. Fat loss. Now my weight is kind of just staying right where it is, not seeing a whole lot of change. Well, guess what? We upped because I want to do muscle gain now. Upped our carbs. Carbs are your friend to gain muscle. Carbs are also really good for brain fuel. I already talked about that, like brain fuel. If you're exhausted, tired, feeling like you can't focus, when is the last time you had a carb? Are you trying to lose weight so much that you just cut out your carbs thinking that's the way to do it? I promise it's not the way to do it for everyone. Okay, so if you're feeling tired right now, what carbs have you had today? And if you haven't had any, then get some in your tummy. Eat them, because oftentimes like a carbohydrate deficient diet, like meaning if you're again going super low, and I bring up keto a lot because I'm talking about carbs. The thing about keto that can work for some people is they're cutting out carbs that's high fat because your body needs a fuel of some kind. So they're using fat as the fuel instead of the carbs, right? So if you're just cutting out your carbs and you're not upping your fats, you're doing your body a disservice. You're actually doing more harm than you are good. A carbohydrate deficit diet, meaning way low carbs, especially if you're not upping your fats so that you have some more fuel, you very likely could be doing a couple things. You could experience headaches, fatigue, like I said, weakness, difficulty concentrating. Some women notice like messes up their stomach, being nauseated, constipation. Even there's studies that show like bad breath sometimes that can be nutrient deficit and minerals and vitamin deficiencies. Again, you need your food. Gosh, I can't talk. It's almost lunchtime for me. Your food is your fuel for everything. It's not just about weight loss. It's also about how you feel and function, right? So carbs are your friend. And again, depending on the person, usually between 30 to 40% is where we keep your carbs. Everybody's different. And then benefits of your fat. Fat is something we talk about also with the women that we work with. And we obviously are focusing more on the healthy fat and the omega-3s and different things that you want to incorporate into your diet, right? Like healthy fats are important. And same thing, again, I'm going to bring up keto because keto is something I see people do wrong all the time. They cut out their carbs and they're either not eating enough fat or so they don't have any fuel going on in their body, or they cut out carbs and they're eating fat, but it's all crappy fats. It's unhealthy fats. It's not necessarily healthy fats with high omegas. And that's where I see some people do. If you do that one right, like it's healthy fats, healthy omegas. Because when you get benefits of having healthy fats into your diet, and I mean healthy fats, like your omega-3s come from multiple things. You can take a fish oil, literally as a supplement, or you can also salmon. Salmon's one of my favorites. There's a couple different sources. You can do flax seeds. You can add chia seeds to your diet. You got hemp seeds. There's a couple other things that you can do to increase the healthy omega fats. But your fats in your diet helps your body absorb nutrients. It has a lot of digestion benefits. There's a lot of heart health as well with the omegas and the healthy fats. Energy source, again, I already talked about this a little bit. Your body uses two things as your energy source. Its preferred source is carbs, but fats are also used. That's why we have kind of moderate to low to moderate on the carbs, and we do not extremely low fat, but pretty low fat on the women that I love to work with. And inflammation is another one. So one of my favorite parts is reducing inflammation in your gut when you use healthy fats. Why? Because stress of all kinds, stress from outside sources, stress from the food you eat, stress from lack of sleep, stress from anxiety, stress from all kinds of things. Guess what it does? It causes inflammation in your body and especially in your gut. And that alone could be a huge culprit to not losing weight. That's what we focus on with the detox program that a lot of women are going through right now, is reducing that through healthy foods and all the things. So fat's very important part of your diet as well too. So again, that's something that we incorporate in our program because I want the women we work with to understand what a healthy fat is, why you need it, and where to put it. Where the heck am I supposed to put it in my day, right? So again, protein, carbs, and fats. These are your most important macros. If you're just hopping on now, I just went through all of them, and you can definitely go back and watch the replay so we don't have a crazy long video, because I know most of y'all catch us on replay. But the biggest thing is, what is a macro? What should my macros be? What am I supposed to eat? All this stuff, you guys. I know it's an acute, confusing part of the process, but it's also, to me, one of them, it can be simplified, and that's what we do with the women that we work with, because I like to simplify it. I don't want to just give you everything all at one time and say, here, do this, and then overwhelm you with all this information. It's just, to me, it's a matter of creating it as a habit to get enough protein, a habit to incorporate healthy fats into my diet, a habit to make sure that I'm getting my carbs, especially in the first half of my day. When you make it a habit versus a diet or something where you're overwhelming yourself with too much at one time, then it becomes something that not everybody wants to really stick to, right? So again, if you are lost and confused at what macros are, go back to the beginning of this video and watch it. I talked a lot about it, but there's always going to be questions. Drop them below this video, and I'll come back in here and get them answered. My inbox is always open as well too. Like, shoot me a message. I'd be happy to chat with you. Or if you know you're in a place in your diet, or not your diet, if you know you're at a place in your journey where you're lost, confused, you know you need someone to help you through it, you know you need some accountability, you don't have time to figure it all out on your own and do all this research, just lay it out and tell me what to do. Then set up a time to chat with me. There will be a link above of this video in the group, or you can, if you're watching or listening to this on the podcast, then just go to acfitmama.com/chat. Book a time. We can have a chat, figure out what might be the right direction for you to go, and then go from there. So again, thank you for hopping on. That did get to hop on. And I look forward to many more trainings with you guys this week, or not this week, but this year in this group. Every Thursday, 11 a.m. Central, I go live in this group with a different topic of training, and more things coming your way too. Also, one last thing. If you did not see yet, I'm going to post it in this group as well too. But yesterday, something really big happened for us in our community, in our group. We launched something called the FitMama Health Talk. And it is featured on the Life Network for Women. It is a Christian channel. It's a Christian app. So if you're a woman of faith, I'll put that link in here as well too, because you can actually download the app. And I will be having the Fit Mama Health Talk topics. We have new videos every single week launched on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. But there's so many other amazing women in there teaching different topics that you can get some mindset benefit from, or maybe it's a teaching about the Bible if that's something that's important to you. There's so many things in there, so I'll drop that as well too. But that's it, y'all. Have an amazing day. Happy Thursday. Stay strong. Know you're beautiful no matter what that dumb scale says. And I'll see you soon.